All right, welcome everyone. So here's our video explaining what exactly a planning meeting is. You've created your backlog, you're up and running with the sprint process, and now you're about to have your first planning. So Mark, tell us what goes into a planning meeting.
Well, a planning meeting, in my opinion, is the most important meeting you're going to have in the next 2 weeks. Why is it the most important meeting? Because the planning meeting is when you set your priorities as a team and delegate tasks, and if you're doing it right, you don't change those priorities or change the tasks.
Right.
So there's two key outcomes for a planning meeting. You want to get commitments from your team about how much they're going to devote.
Mm-hmm.
On my team, we normally say a percentage of our time that we're going to commit. So I might say I'm 50% on this, and then we go further and break that down into hours. So if a work week is 40 hours and a sprint is 2 weeks, then I'm committing 40 hours of work on this. And it's important that I tell my team that up front so they can set realistic expectations when they're delegating cards to me or tasks.
So pausing right there, you're saying that everybody commits to how much time they're going to spend on it, an expectation of how much time they'll be able to commit for that sprint. And what do? Do you write that on the board? Or?
Yeah, we write that in our progress tracker, actually.
Okay, cool.
On one of the cards, this isn't actually a task card for us. It's just like a general information card sitting on the board. We write, Mark, what specific role I'm playing. If I'm playing some sort of specific role, so if I happen to be the product owner, I would write that, or
cool.
And then I would write what percentage of time I'm going to commit, and maybe any other notes. So I'll be offline for 3 days. I just want to be upfront with my team, so that way, this is my opportunity to, at that point after the planning meeting is over, I can't really come back and say oh, I didn't have enough time,
right,
or I was offline for these 3 days.
So it helps you to plan, helps you to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So you lay out the expectations of how much time people are going to have. What else do you do in a planning meeting?
So the most of your meeting, ideally you should only spend 5 or 10 minutes on getting capacity from people.
Right.
You should spend most of your time assigning cards to people, and the first step for that is prioritization. So and a key part of prioritization is pulling things from the backlog. You don't want to walk into the meeting and throw out a wildly new priority for your team. I mean, it is okay to do that, but you're kind of doing it wrong if you have to do that.
Right.
Your team lead would open up the backlog, and I find on the teams that I've seen the most effective way to do it, time effective way to do it, is get a pulse check from everyone in the room about what they think is the most important.
Okay.
You could ask them to do that ahead of the meeting. So go around to the room and say, what are your top 3 priorities? And maybe even keep a running list of tallying it.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever arises as the most important, start auctioning those items off. So, hey, this item looks like it's the most important. Who wants to do that?
Right.
And then normally whoever's most interested on the team will pipe up. If 2 people said that they want to take it, then you can just go back to your notes on capacity.
Right.
And say, well, you have very little time and you have a lot of time, so I'll give it to you.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then you delegate those cards over the course of the planning meeting, and this is sort of a high stakes decision, because if you do this correctly, then your team is going to be working on the right things and doing high impact work for the next 2 weeks or however long your sprint is.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it poorly, then your team is going to ask why they're working on what they're working on. They're going to feel like they're not having a high impact.
Gotcha.
So getting this meeting right is probably the most important part of the sprint, honestly.
Gotcha. So I hear you share capacity, you identify what the top priority items are from the backlog, and then you pick a person who's responsible for each of them. So do you have multiple people responsible for items?
Normally you would really do your best to delegate it to one specific person, so that they can be held accountable for it.
I see.
And you can agree that some people are going to support. So maybe I'll say, Benita, you're leading this card, but Mitchie and Andrew are going to support you on that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, at the end of the sprint, if the card isn't done, I'm not going to look at Mitchie and Andrew, or Andrew. I'm not going to. I'm going to look at Benita and say what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have a single person that's assigned to each of those items that's responsible for
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. So that's your planning meeting. We've put together a draft agenda for a typical planning meeting that's there in the ALU Sprint Starter Pack. So take a look at it, and best of luck with your planning meeting.
See ya.